Opinions expressed on Carter's Corner are entirely independent of the opinions of Radio 89.7 FM's Wise Board, talented management and wonderful sponsors. Carter's Corner respects the right of each individual to hold and express an opinion unfettered by the shackles of political correctness and without fear of quivering in the quicksand of cancel culture. Radio is for entertainment, not censorship.
All right, Carter's Corner is back again, and my levels are all over the shop. Let's pull that back a bit, So obviously you're talking to Travis Carter. This is 89.7 FM. Listen live at 897fm.com.au. Now, we have a huge show today.
Large.
Hey, talk about yourself.
Okay,
no.
sorry.
So we've got, obviously there's myself, Travis Carter. Make sure you look me up on the old YouTube, traviscarter.com.au is my website. All the links are there. We've got Aaron Malloy in the station. He's on the green mic.
Keep away from my socials. That's all I can say. Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible. Okay, now we also have, I have to give Brett absolute credit. I think we called him about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and the dude's a legend. So we have Brett, the candidate for Lansdale for the good old Liberal Party. They've heard all our, I won't say abuse, but we've been giving them grief pretty badly over the last couple of weeks.
I think fair assessment, okay?
No,
that's what I think.
No, we gave them abuse. Let's be honest here. We were abusing the Liberal Party. So, Brett, my producer's writing is absolutely diabolical. How do I say your last name?
Raponi.
So we've got Brett Raponi.
Good Irish
Raponi.
name. Yep,
Raponi.
We're off to a good start.
Awesome. I'm terrible with names. God, I butchered Alan Joyce's name.
You certainly did.
Sorry. Watch, it's on YouTube if you want to have a look. God, I'm plugging that enough.
Certainly are.
So we have a new area, electorate, in WA, because we are growing too fast. So Brett has been granted the nomination from the Liberal Party.
Mm-hmm. So I've been pre-selected for the brand new seat of Lansdale. Lansdale's never been contested before, and Lansdale is now made up of Pearsall and Hocking, which at the previous state election was part of Wanneroo. It also forms Wangara, but as we know, Wangara generally goes to sleep at night. It's an industrial area, and people disappear. And it also picks up Lansdale, Madeley, Darch, and a portion of Alexander Heights.
So that's actually a
good
really
balance.
big area.
It is, but it's a good balance of residential and commercial.
Yeah, predominantly. You're right, Aaron. Predominantly, it is aspirational families. There's the biggest shopping centre in the area is Kingsway Shopping Centre, and it's by comparison to Joondalup, there is no comparison, if you like. Wangara, there's a lot of people who work in the area, but I wouldn't say necessarily live in my particular electorate.
Sure.
But it's 20, close enough to 28,000 voters in the area, and it covers 28 square kilometres.
Fact check. It's closer to 29,000.
Closer to what?
29,000. Now, we have an orange light going off its nut. It looks like we've already got a caller coming in. Hey, Dwayne, you mind grabbing that phone for us? No, can't get it. All right, too bad. So the caller who's calling in, can you send a message through to 0418 897 897? We're just having a few phone issues at the moment.
Love to take calls later on. Absolutely. I just think now probably is best to send in a text, and we'll get started with that a little later on.
Yeah, so awesome. So again, if you do want to listen in, or you got friends in other states, family and all that sort of stuff, they can listen live at 897fm.com.au. Just click the listen live bit. So, Brett, let's talk about you. Well, he's getting ready for the
I am getting nervous
question.
I've heard a little bit about this segment, Carter's Corner, and I was warned. But still, I wanted to come in here, and I heard the dulcet tones of you last week,
right?
And I wanted to come in and listen. Now you tell me we're on YouTube.
Yes.
Is that your YouTube?
That's my YouTube.
Right.
Oh yeah, look, he's everywhere. Tell you what, he's a bit of a local tramp, really. I mean, he's on every bit of social media, so yeah, it's okay.
Anyway, so why politics?
Why politics?
Right, because I understand you're state manager, or you're some sort of high up manager. Why politics? Why would you put yourself into the boot of getting absolute abuse from the left side of politics?
Well, all my friends have asked me that, and including my children have asked me that. I have mature age children. They don't act mature, but they are of a mature age. Look, I suppose it goes back a long way. I was a former president of the West Perth Football Club, based over at Joondalup Arena.
Pop played for Swan District, so.
Did he really?
Yeah.
What was your Pop's surname?
John Carter. He cracked his skull, so could only play 3 games. So.
Right. Well, in what era? Pop
He's
60s?
80. What is he? 85 now, so
Well, I'm just trying to
maybe early 60s.
Okay, very successful period. I think Swans won 3 premierships in that period.
Yeah. So he, I know Richmond toured WA after they won the VFL premiership, and they came down to play Collie because that's where Pop's originally from, and they beat Richmond. So yeah, that's our claim to fame.
There you go.
Anyway, so
We digress.
Yes.
So
Why politics?
Yeah. So I got involved with the Westware Football Club on the board and eventually became president, and I stepped down in 2016. But towards the end of 2016, it became apparent that I'd made a lot of contacts, and you can be quite influential in the community with the contacts that you have.
Look, football is culture, quite frankly, in this state. So, yeah, no, absolutely.
Culture? Come on, it's a religion.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, but it's not just football. There are other codes here. But what I did find out was I'd made a lot of contacts. I'd made a lot of friends on both sides of politics.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And as this election approached, I was encouraged by some people that I regard strongly to sit for the seat of Lansdale.
Okay.
And be able to make a difference. And I really want to advocate for the community.
Okay.
You're laughing because you don't believe this.
I've got a bit of a curly question for you.
Okay.
So you were saying you had friends from both sides of the politics, and I unfortunately was in that same category with you.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a hell of a lot of friends when I started getting into politics. So how many of the people on the left side of the politics no longer want to talk to you?
Well, funny enough, I've got a couple who are pretty good friends, and they're actually part of my resource team. So they do letterbox drops for me.
Right.
And they're also going to work for me on polling day. So I found that quite interesting. Yep. I think the big thing for me was the game changer was at my campaign launch a few weeks ago at Kingsway Olympic Soccer Club. Zach Kirkup, he'd only been in the role 3 days.
Yeah.
And Zach came and spent the day with me and came out to Olympic Kingsway and made a speech. And it was really inspiring. And my friends actually met him, one in particular. She's a good Lansdale resident, runs a small business there, and pretty strong supporter of the red team.
Okay.
But she met Zach, and she was really impressed because Zach asked a number of questions, and she was a doula, or she is a doula.
Sure.
And not many people know what that is.
I have no idea what it is.
Home births, essentially.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he was interested, and he asked a number of questions. Okay. And Vicky said to me later on, she got a photo and said, "Oh, I think I'm coming across." He goes, because no one ever asks the second or third question as a politician.
Well, that's the thing. And you know what? To be a good politician, in my opinion, forget about the mouth. You've got 2 ears. You need to be using them. You need to listen to people. What's been, in my eyes, lost in politics is the fact that people are not there to serve the public anymore. They are there to serve their masters, whether they be CCP or they're just their own wallets. And that is a big issue. So I think that if you're actually listening to what people have to say and you're going with that, it's very encouraging, quite frankly.
The bit that I find the most encouraging about that with Zach, and now, Zach, if you're listening, come on, mate, please, just call in.
Trust
Zach,
me, he's listening.
We want you on the show.
I actually want to fire in on that. Sorry.
No, wait.
Well, yep, sorry.
So my biggest gripe with the Liberals, and especially Scott Morrison, and sorry about bringing federal into this, especially with what China's doing at the moment, they're hurting the Australian economy something cruel. And then Scott Morrison goes, no, naughty. But what actual action has he taken to fight back?
Look.
You still haven't been able to answer this one, Aaron.
Yeah, because, here's the thing. What action can he take? Well,
There's lots.
No, I know there is, but okay. What are you expecting? Military action? I mean, come on.
No.
Absolutely.
But same things. They're hitting us up on our trade side of things. So why don't we just stop sending them our iron ore? Like there's so many people.
Let's talk to Twiggy about that, shall we? Do you think
many countries are screaming for our iron ore and they can't get it?
The other day, Twiggy made an extra $1 billion. Right, that's with a B. All right, because of prices and so forth and that kind of carry on. All right. When we shut our trade down with China in one foul swoop, don't get me wrong, because I'm all for it. I really am. I actually would like to boycott China. From a personal standpoint, I'm doing everything I can. Whatever I do, I make sure at the moment I don't buy from China. Again, not because I'm against Chinese people, but I am against the CCP and their utter control of this state, and particularly the Labor Party. The Labor Party in this state.
The amount they defended China on that, their attack on the Australian Defence Force is disgusting. Anyway, we're not here to talk about federal.
That's what
we're
I'm trying to say.
We're going on tangent again. Oh, that's something you'll notice with our show. We go on tangents all the time.
Okay, well, here's my little tangent. I'm going to fire straight in with Zach. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you feel forgetting about the politics, it's going to be hard to say that, but as a human being, how do you feel about the way that the mainstream media treated Zach with the depression issues?
Headlines and bylines are interesting, aren't they? I had someone send me a screenshot this morning from an article that's 3 days old, and I thought, gee, she's just reading the paper now, but it's probably just popped up in her Facebook feed.
Yep.
And she makes an assessment from that. And then I actually rang her up to say, read the whole story, have a look at the article.
Yep.
I said, it's Zach Kirkup never said what the headline articulated.
Never let facts, ruin a good story, right? When it comes to politics, never let facts get in the way.
I'll go back to Zach in a second, but I know my experience in football.
Right.
Only ever believe, and this is for you guys and your listeners, particularly in the press, what's in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Because that's what the person said.
Oh, for sure.
And,
absolutely.
Quote marks. So yeah.
It's like and I don't want to jump back to football or whatever because I'm not even particularly that into footy. But you look at what happened to Ben Cousins, right? There's a great example of being destroyed by a system and, quite frankly, the media.
Well, we're going to have some awesome topics around that one with some of our future guests on this show. But we'll get to that one later. So a nice little segue there.
Yeah, I've worked with Ben Cousins. Don't particularly like the guy, okay? But I don't warm to him. But at the same time, how he was treated was absolutely disgraceful. And it's a great example of how the media have far too much control of somebody's life. And I think that, this case where Zach's come up with his depression, with, those issues, and I have not read all of it, so I'm not all over it. But certainly what I saw, I was disgusted, absolutely disgusted by the reaction of the mainstream media.
7 Media, again, WA. It's just, and that's the whole purpose of this show. So it's a counter to 7 Media, the ABC, and even to a certain against Sky News, because again, Sky does have a little bit of a biased opinion on a lot of things, going the other way though. So Carter's Corner for any Labor or Greens, even the Extension Rebellion guys, come on, give us a call, come on the show. I've sent so many emails to these guys and they keep either ignoring them, deleting them, or just saying no. So,
I mean, look, you can trust community radio. That's kind of the beauty that we've got here. Okay, we're not owned by anybody. We're owned by our members, and that's actually probably something that some people should really get into their own heads, actually. But some people involved in the system, I am always very nice. So, we are very lucky. We are owned by our members, and therefore we owe them an explanation. And we're very lucky that we've got that. We can be bipartisan.
So let me tell you, freedom of speech is a great thing,
isn't it?
And it's part of.
We don't have it in Australia.
Freedom of speech is a great thing, and it's part of democracy. And I might say, to go back to Zach Kirkup, Zach Kirkup's appointment to leader of the Liberal Party has given the party a real shot in the arm.
Good.
And as a candidate, and I'm just a candidate.
Yep.
I like Lisa Harvey. I'd consider Lisa a friend of mine.
Sure.
I thought when they make a change, what will it really do for me? I'm very focused on local issues out in my electorate.
Sure.
But the spike that we've had and the excitement and enthusiasm that has been created by Zach coming on board, I think it's put the Liberal Party back in the game for the next state election.
Good. Now, I want to throw a bit of a curveball. You're not prepared for this one. So,
okay.
You were talking how the Liberal Party have a bit of a shot in the arm in the media and the perception within the community, especially off the back of Zach's nomination. Mark McGowan had a very interesting press conference this morning, and with a very, very, personally, I think, overrated response and very tragic killing at the Motorplex.
Right.
Yes, with the...
that was terrible.
Martin, I forget his first name.
Sure.
But the thing I want to know... Nick Martin, thank you. Little interesting side note, the former... I think it was the press secretary for the Labor Party was actually Nick Martin. Different Nick Martin, not the same bikie guy. But they share the same name. So when I was doing searching and trying to learn about it, very interesting articles came up. So my question is, do you think Mark McGowan over-dramatised the shooting when you've got people like Lee Tong, who the WA police shot in his bedroom while he was eating noodles? There was no coverage on it. There was the shooting of the Aboriginal lady in Geraldton where the police officer got charged for manslaughter. They haven't done the hearing yet, so I'm not sure what the going is. There's all these other shootings of other people that were questionable. Why do you think Mark McGowan went so overboard? And this is just my opinion. He went so overboard in that press conference today. Do you think that could be possibly to try and steal some of the media attention away from Zach?
Look, you'd have to ask Mark McGowan why he did it.
He won't come on the show. I've already asked him.
So, I'm not here to speak for Mark McGowan, but that incident was a tragic incident. I think what was so tragic about it, as opposed to a lot of others, is was done in with 800 to 900,000 people around. And anyway, I mean, if that reported sniper
I don't think
missed,
those numbers are quite that high, but okay.
pretty big
most
numbers
places
down
may
at the
be.
drags. It's got a big follow. It was
Yeah.
Probably
Ex-rally driver?
Probably 9,000. I would maybe. Yeah.
9,000.
Oh, 9,000.
Yeah.
No, they thought there was about 800 to 1,000 people at the
sorry.
event.
I thought you said. Sorry, I misheard you completely. My apologies.
I know. 800
Okay.
to 1,000 people at the event.
That's
and
more
you've
like
got
it.
a-
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say 9,000. Holy
Yeah.
crap. You don't even get that to a Biden rally.
Yeah. There is no doubt though that Zach Kirkup is getting cut through in the media, and
Of course he is.
and the media like him, and he may only be 33 years of age, but he's been through, I think he told me the other day, 15 elections already.
Right, that's insane. Now, one thing I'm trying to be good this week, and we're already 2 minutes over. We're meant to have messages
Let's
from
do
our
that.
sponsors. So I do need to go to a quick message, and then we'll have a song, then we'll be right back. When we get back, I want to have a talk about some of the Liberal policies that are coming up. So you don't stick around?
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So this is 897 with Travis Carter. Get your your messages through on 0418 897 897. We'll be back very, very shortly. We're back on Carter's Corner. Love it when you press the wrong button, and I've turned half the microphones on that I'm not supposed to. But you know what? Fun and games. Travis
Exactly.
Carter here, butchering the control panel. We've got
What we need to do before, here's what we need to do. We need these conversations we're having behind the scenes. We need to film those, mate, because we got a little excited there and forgot to turn the mics back on. Good effort.
and also because we did the messages after the song.
Details. Sorry, go back to your introductions, my friend.
And yeah, so the guy that just cut me off, the good old Mr. Malloy, Aaron. And then we've also got Brett Raponi.
Raponi.
No, well, have a look at this. What the hell is that?
That's poor writing from
Oh,
Dwayne out there.
it's beautiful.
Raponi.
It's
easy.
hieroglyphics.
Raponi. Check out the Facebook page, Brett for Lansdale.
Brett for Lansdale.
Raponi.
Oh, give it a plug all the way.
Plug away.
Do you have your own website as well?
You got my own
That's
website.
one thing I've noticed. A lot of the candidates out this upcoming election have all their own websites and all that sort of stuff. So my level's a little bit low. Let's go there.
Let me ask you this, though. Why do we see so few Liberal candidates with a Wikipedia page?
Because Wikipedia is very easy to edit.
Yeah, candidates or MPs?
Candidates.
I mean, we as a candidate, look, so there's still some seats that haven't been filled just yet. So I've been a candidate since March or April from memory. I wouldn't have had time to get a Wikipedia page up. It's
Talking about Wikipedia, there's this guy that every single time he gets a little bit inebriated with the devil liquids.
Was this Aaron?
No. Yeah, it's a dude in America. So what he does, he jumps onto the Wikipedia and modifies it to the size of Arizona. So it's like takes up half the map of America. So he doesn't know why he does it or how he does it because he's that drunk he doesn't recognize what he's doing. But he wakes up in the morning and Arizona is like 50 times bigger than what it's supposed to be on the Wikipedia
Or was
page.
that Donald Trump?
Actually, it could be. So
Yeah,
no.
well, Texas is going to have an issue with that, but that's a whole other story. All right, mate, back to the issues. Now, we have had a lot of texts in, and we'll be listening to some of them later on because they're about different subjects. But what have we got at the moment that we need to talk about, my friend?
The next one is, and this one's a little bit close to my heart.
Yep.
Because I've just moved into, not in the same area, but I keep catching people in my backyard to the point where I even got a dog. I adopted a dog that barks a lot. It's a Chihuahua crossed with an Aussie Terrier. We've
Vicious
had
animal,
him for about 6 months and he's barked once.
You've done well.
No, not really. But anyway, so we keep catching people in our backyard. I've got a really big shed, quite a few tools in there. We've lost quite a few tools to people borrowing them and not giving them back. So crime. How are we going to deal with it? What's the plans? What's the plan, Stan?
It's a growing scourge of the community, isn't it? It's seems to be almost out of control in some particular suburbs. But I must say, from the door knocking that I've done and the community gatherings that I've attended, it's probably the single biggest issue is crime and people feeling safe in their own homes.
Okay, now let me throw this forward. I mean, I've said some very negative things about the police in the past because I've had some very poor experiences with the police in the past. But I actually don't think it's the coppers' fault, to be frank. I think that we've got such a weak judicial process right now where we have judges, magistrates who slap people on the wrists for doing very, very serious things. And there is no incentive to stop doing crime, quite frankly. How do you feel about that?
I don't really have an issue with the judicial process. I'm probably a little bit different yourself, but I haven't had to experience too much of that. Maybe you have. What I can say is the Liberal Party, I know this sounds a bit cheesy, but you have invited me in. We've just announced a new policy to bring in 1,200 additional police officers.
But what good are 1,200 police officers once it goes in front of a magistrate, a weak magistrate who has had no life experience, who has grown up in a leafy suburb, who knows nothing about the real world, who hasn't experienced these negative influences of police and crime and so forth. They are, in my personal opinion, absolutely the problem. You could have another 20,000 coppers out there, really good coppers doing the right thing. So, quite frankly, I think Liberals saying we're going to throw some police out there is a bit of a... I just think it's trying to buy votes, to be frank.
I would totally I would disagree, but I appreciate your point of view with the judicial process. So everyone's entitled to their point of view. But I've always thought the greatest deterrent to crime is actually seeing more police on the road. Radars held behind trees doesn't really stop you. You get the fine.
Thank you.
3 months later. But I think when police are visual, it has a real deterrent on the community.
As long as they're not beating people up for expressing their freedom of speech.
No, and
AKA Victoria Police.
I don't believe they do that. But
they certainly do. They certainly do. I tell you right now, you've got this state has some unbelievably corrupt police officers. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination.
I think we've hit a chord.
I'll just say this just quickly. I'm not saying this is the majority. I'm saying this is very much a minority, right? But perhaps certainly under Callaghan's reign of terror, the police were very, very different in this state. I believe under the current commissioner things have improved greatly, but we will see.
I think the police in Western Australia do a fantastic job. We have a terrific academy just behind where we're sitting now, actually, and I actually have a friend going through the training academy right now. You'll get nothing but good words from me on police, but we do need more police on the field, and it creates more jobs for a start. That's 1,200.
I don't disagree.
1,200 more jobs. So, that's a really great start by the Liberal Party, and it's something that we have to work on, and we have to probably better educate our children from a school age about what's right and what's wrong and what society accepts and what they don't accept.
Well, perhaps if the system wasn't taking the power away from parents to be parents, perhaps then these children would be raised.
You guys have some really radical views on.
Hang on. Wait. How is my view radical when you find that that relationships break down, and through the family court, for argument's sake, that 84.1% of cases, the father is effectively washed out of the child's life. Now, you want to talk about responsibility and so forth, and people being raised to be good adults. If you're taking away role models and replacing them with indoctrination through school, then what do you expect? And then you find they get into a vicious cycle of crime and so forth, because there's no consequences. You've got, as I say, a very weak system with the judges and the magistrates.
Yeah, again, I would disagree with that, but
to me, and I don't want to be harsh. Well, no, I just want to be honest. To me, saying 1,200 new coppers is putting a band-aid on an artery that's been ripped in half.
No, I think it goes a long way towards solving some of the issues, but look, there are still going to be issues as we move along.
Now, I want to diverge a little bit. So let's say Liberals win, we get the 1,200 police. Do you know what the distribution of those police will be yet?
I don't know exactly yet. Yep. I should know a little bit more. The policy came out yesterday, but I have been on the campaign trail for 2 days. But it will happen from day one.
Okay, cool. So the reason I raised this, again, I'm an alienated dad. When I went through a separation, I actually lived in the back of my car for 6 weeks. So there was no help for myself. So I've actually put up a set of units in Geraldton for emergency accommodation. So we actually house a couple of homeless fathers with their kids. We suffered a house fire. Someone decided to set my bathroom on fire, which was really awesome. We had a few issues with the police because they were it's not their fault, the police on the beat. They were just so undermanned because the level of crime in Geraldton is astronomical. And again, the Labor promised more police on the beat, but instead they actually went down 12 police in the Midwest region. So that's kind of why I'm curious what the distribution would be. One of the messages that came through before that you guys had your little chat there was more police in Northbridge after hours and police sniffer dogs, like drug sniffer dogs. So is there any plans that you're aware of about getting more sniffer dogs as well?
I don't know about the sniffer dogs, but I do know there is a plan to put more police into Northbridge. Mm-hmm. Look, crime is probably never going to go. We're never going to eradicate it. But I believe police being visible is a great deterrent. If my car's parked downstairs now under that car park, and I noticed the sign when I came in said, "Don't leave anything valuable in the car." But I could tell you, if a policeman was standing down there, now I know this is a radical thought. We're not going to have a policeman standing down there at 20 to 7 on a Tuesday night. But if a policeman was standing down there, or there is CCTV down there.
Oh, CCTV doesn't help. We caught the guys that set the fire on with the CCTV.
Well, if there was, I'd suspect, and it's signed, it's well signed. I think that's a stronger deterrent than anything.
Brett, I don't disagree at all. And as I say, like my earlier statements, I'm not trashing police. Most police are brilliant. They do the job for the right reasons. Okay, absolutely. What I'm saying is and I've spoken to a lot of coppers who have found that they have there's a ill feeling because they know that they go through the process and they get the people, they go to court, and then these people are turned away. Okay, it's a naughty, don't do that again. Here's $60 fine that they'll never pay.
Especially, and I was talking to the police officers that did the investigation for the fires at our place, because we got the person on camera who it was, and I don't go into who they are or anything like that. They were a minor. The police said there's nothing they can do because they won't even get charged.
Yep.
So that's kind of something I would love to see, that parents are more held responsible for the actions of their children, especially when they're doing adult crimes.
That's right.
So that's just my personal feeling. You don't have to answer it because I don't want to get you in trouble with the Liberal Party.
But even that, just saying, don't want to get you in trouble with the Liberal Party. You know what? Individuals and people who are standing for office, as far as I'm concerned, have a responsibility to say what they feel and not just fall into party politics. So,
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd kind of disagree, actually, because...
But you are, Travis, making some sweeping statements as we go here.
Yes, but I'm not a candidate for a Liberal Party.
No, but I get that's the mantra of the show.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I've probably door knocked 1,800 homes, and no one has brought up such radical issues as yourself.
Okay.
But if there are specifics, I'm sure that we would look into it.
Okay. Right.
So
I could give you specifics, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, that's for later.
We'll talk about that later. So
my time is nearly done here. So,
so we do need to be a little bit nice. But no, there's I think crime is a big one. I think there's a lot of things that the current Attorney General has done pretty nastily. There's a few things that borderline whether they're actually illegal or not, but because of what it's in regards to, it will never get investigated. It will never come up to the light of day. But that's for another show, another segment, not for this one. The last one that we had on our little list is road infrastructure. A little bit less touchy of a subject, but Lansdale. What's the go with the road infrastructure? It's just on my little form here. I know nothing about Lansdale, I'll be honest with you.
It's a wonderful area. I'm looking at Aaron because I'm sure Aaron will have some pointed
well, he
view.
lives up this way, so.
I'm never going to be shy, Brett.
I'll tell you what, Earl, if you live up this way, the lights at some of these intersections in the heart of Joondalup,
they're terrible.
They take forever.
They do.
Yeah.
They
take forever. The light changes in William Street and the city are quicker than these ones up here.
I've got, we used to have a segment called Conspiracy Corner where we talk about all things that aren't true but could be true.
Yeah.
Ooh. I've had a conspiracy theory that traffic lights were invented by the oil and petrol companies. Because have you seen how much petrol you burn by just sitting there going, oh, come on, hurry
That's
up.
better. You're back in with the theme of your show now.
I'll tell you. That's my conspiracy theory. I know it's not true, but it makes sense.
I'm going to go back to the roadworks and not the road structures and so forth in Lansdale and that kind of thing. So what does the Liberal Party, if you were in power, what changes would you make through the industrial area, for argument's sake, and the interaction with the residential around it?
So on a serious note, that is a really good point. So the Liberal Party have committed to the realignment of Whitfords Avenue with Nangara Road. And that'll effectively... The road, Whitfords Avenue will go through Lena Nursery. So
I know where that is exactly.
So and Lena Nursery are happy to be acquired. There's a financial sum there for them.
Yep.
but the road will go into Wangara, so it gives Wangara a new entry. And there's a lot of vacant land up there.
Okay.
And it will come out up by the new garage, I think it's a 7-Eleven or Puma garage.
There's so many going in now.
Up on Nangara Road.
Okay.
But what it does is, it does two things. The people in Madeley, if you go down to that part of the world around 6:30 in the morning, between 6:30 and 8, trying to get out onto Nangara Road out of Madeley is near on impossible.
No, I tried that a couple of years ago and it's like, whatever. I ended up going with the traffic and doing a U-turn out of place where I wasn't supposed to do a U-turn.
It's a real safety issue.
Yeah.
It's a road safety issue.
Yeah.
The road will go through, bulky goods will be built, so there's jobs for construction of the road, there's jobs to build factories and units, and I know the people who own land up there, and they've actually contacted me because they want it to happen.
Now, you've just talked about transport and so forth. How do you feel about row 8?
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to leave that as a departing comment because it is 41 past.
Sorry.
Dwayne outside asked me about row 8 before. It's not in my electorate, so I have no comment on it.
Yeah,
It certainly seems to stir up a lot of conversation, though.
Yeah, so no, it's
Nangara Road, Whitfords Avenue, in our area, and 89.7 has that reach. So I'm sure there's listeners there in Madeley and
Actually, we do
Darch.
have a lot of people through that area. We get a lot of calls and a lot of support from there. So
It's a no-brainer. And I might say that the previous Liberal government actually made a commitment to do this.
right.
And when Labor elected in, they canned it.
Right.
They got rid of it and they took it out of the budget.
they wanted
and it
their
hasn't
Metro
happened.
Net.
Exactly. Now, we're putting it back on. And the people of Madeley and Darch want it. So I've door-knocked the area. I've worked the area hard. We had Shadow Minister for Transport, Libby Mettam was up there a couple of months ago to make the announcement, and it's been received really well.
I have to say, sorry about laughing just then, I can see the messages as they're coming through. And someone's putting up there, Labor steals a lot of Liberal ideas, don't they? Liberal policies, they corrected their spelling, but I went through there. So it seems to be the way, but I'm noticing, and this... Please don't crucify me for this one. I've noticed the Labor government also saying still some of the One Nation policies as well, which is
there's
funnier.
a total flow on.
So I think so. Anyway, on that one, we are actually coming up time for some more messages again. And Brett, we are actually over by the amount of time we were originally planning to have you here. So you've been a legend. Sorry about the Aaron's curly questions there. That was supposed to be saved for the next segment.
I'm just trying to be friendly.
Friendly?
No,
As friendly as like a salmon in the face or something.
If I'm going to be successful at politics, I'm going to deal with people like yourself on a more regular basis.
You will. And I mean, you know what? That'll make you a better poly because the great thing about the world is we'd have different opinions. And at the end of the day, we can shake hands and move on. Right?
Absolutely.
Simple as that. So, look, I might not agree with everything you've said, but I certainly agree with the alignment of that road. Fantastic work. Very happy with that. I wish you all the best of luck. And we'll see how
before you go, one final plug. What was your Facebook again?
Brett for Lansdale.
Fantastic.
Brett
and your website?
For Lansdale. It's Brett Raponi. www.brettraponi.
And Raponi is spelled R-A-P, a funny P, according to the director's handwriting, ONI.com.au.
No worries. Gentlemen, thanks for having me in. I've really enjoyed it.
And
I'll go to the YouTube and have a listen to some of your previous shows.
And please don't complain too much. So, again, thank you for being so accommodating because, guys, like for him to come in today, I seriously think it was maybe 2 or 3 hours notice. He's pretty much dropped everything he was doing. It could have been a good break from the door knocking as well. So get out there, have a talk to him. And ladies and gentlemen, if he does come to your door, make sure you offer him a cup of tea or a bit of sunscreen because it's starting to get really, really hot out there. So a bit of water, liquids really helps these guys out. So whether you support them or not, just make sure they're hydrated, make sure they're safe. So
thank you.
Anyway, we're going to go to a few messages. Thank you very much for coming on today. And we have so many more messages, so we'll get to them after the ad. So text messages through 0418 897 897. This is Carter's Corner with Travis Carter, Aaron Malloy, and Brett Raponi.
Raponi?
I'm sorry.
You'll get used to it.